So big welcome to you all. I'm Sandy Mays and I do clairvoyant and psychic readings for Illuminations. And pre-COVID, this bit of background, I was trained at the Arthur Findlay College and worked for 15 years at major health resorts called Champneys in the United Kingdom. Ran a school of mediumship, a retreat centre, did lots of workshops, ran holistic wellbeing festivals, and also worked in France. Did about 18 3 to 4 week trips to France over a 9-year period. And that's basically went to a lot of places. But of course, COVID rather put a stop to all of that. So Mike's going to tell you a little bit about what's happened post-COVID.
Hello there, I'm Mike Mays. Since COVID started, we've been working for Illuminations. Illuminations put everything online, which is really good. I do deep energy healing, by the way, for Illuminations, and we've been working with them since April, which is really good. We also worked in Australia, and we still work a little bit in Australia on Zoom.
On Zoom.
And in the UK, we run several groups and all working on Zoom. So it's really, really good. So we like Zoom.
Well, COVID for us, we always try and find the positive in things, and COVID for us has been a very positive thing because it's shown us the power of Zoom. It has removed all physical barriers for us. We no longer climb on planes and spend hours sitting there. We actually just sit here in our living room and push buttons. And it means our UK mediumship class, where it was just sort of local people coming, now we have people from all over the world coming. So there are a lot of positives with this because it's opened the world up for us, but it's also opened it up for people like you, the customers.
Okay.
So the title of today's webinar, and I'm sure you know already, it's Mastering Mediumship and Telepathy. And we are going to be dealing with those subjects in some detail so that you know how you can master them and use them.
Okay, so for questions, we actually prefer audience participation. You don't have to show yourselves on the camera if you don't want to, but we like a little bit of interaction. Every now and again, we will stop and ask for questions. And if you can give us a voice, that'd be really, really lovely. And we'll try and answer them as best we can. If you wish not to do that and you'd rather put it in the chat box, then please do so. And I'll read out what's in the chat box. And I won't say who it's from, but if you don't want to, but so yeah, please feel free to bit of audience participation here.
Yes, remember, a question asked and answered is a lesson for everyone. And probably if you ask a question, other people will think, oh, I was going to ask that. So don't be shy, join in. We don't mind at all. We'll give you plenty of opportunities. So let's have a look at these subjects. So who can master these subjects?
And how do they work? Yeah, we'll be going through that as well. How can they be used, and what are they good for? So we're going to go through all these.
So we're going to be talking about the uses of mediumship and telepathy, and you'll be surprised at how much you're already doing. Obviously, we don't know anything about you. Some of you may be well on that path, but everybody is doing a bit of it automatically. So we're going to be talking about readings, because that's reading energy using telepathy, psychic readings particularly, but also when we communicate with the spirit world, that's also comes under telepathy, but under the bigger umbrella of mediumship. A little bit of a mention of channeling, because that's channeling for us. Channeling is when we bring through higher beings, White Eagle, Silver Birch are some UK well-known names, but also angels, archangels, all of those. That all comes under this as well.
And we'll talk about the telepathy side of it as well.
Yeah, and you're going to say a bit about healing.
So yeah, healing as well. Again, it's channeling, if you like, and telepathy. It's allowing spirit to come through to do the healing and getting some advice, if you like, or direction from the spirit world of how to go. So they actually telepathically, I sort of talk to them. So we'll talk about that.
So who can engage in these? Sorry, we're going to say something. Don't interrupt you.
No.
Oh, it's yours, isn't it?
I was just going to ask a question. Who can do this? Anyone want to answer that one? You don't have to. I will tell you in a minute.
Who's capable of mediumship? Who's capable of telepathy? So put something in the chat box if you don't want to speak. It'd be quite interesting to know what you think. Because I know, yeah. Oh, we got one.
Hello there.
Oh, hello.
Hello, my name is Imad.
Hello, Imad. Well done for speaking to us. That's really nice.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity also.
Excellent.
And I think so it is able to anyone. The answer is how to look inside us. The how is the key, I believe, because even when I do that, because I'm trying now to read tarot cards and pendulum. So yes, in a way you have to believe, but you have also to have a second question behind it. So
okay, well, you mentioned tarot. That's the next bit. But
yeah, but I'm going to compare it to tarot in just a minute.
So well done. So, okay, so your answer is you're open to that. Okay.
Yeah, really yeah. So, okay. Welcome and welcome. Nice to see you. Welcome to Gina.
Yeah.
Gina and I have met before, but Gina's put a question in the chat box actually.
Actually, right.
Yeah, so was it Gianna, I think, Gianna. Actually.
Oh yeah. When are you intuitive?
When you are intuitive.
When you are intuitive. Sorry.
That's her answer.
That's her answer to the question. Who can do it? Well, the actual answer to the question, who can do it, is everybody. Everybody's a medium. Everybody's a healer. Everybody's intuitive. Everybody in the world is telepathic to a point, and we'll talk to you about how we work these things, if you like, and how we do them. But everybody.
The problem is that for most people in today's world, their lives are too fast, too noisy, and they're no longer picking up. Their radar's gone off a bit. But we can perhaps spark this off in you with what we're going to be talking about. But if you are, everybody is intuitive, but it's actually acknowledging your intuition and believing it, that gut feeling, that personal thing. So I'm going to move on now to, on the thing of how does it work? Well, I've just made a note here that I'm going to talk about tarot compared to mediumship and telepathy. And the reason I'm doing that is in our experience since April, we realized that a lot of people, a lot of clients of Illuminations go to tarot readers a lot. And there are a lot of tarot readers. So what I want to say about that is that tarot is largely a mental process. It starts with the mind. Mediumship and telepathy. Mediumship should never be about the mind. It should be about how you feel, how different things make you feel, how people make you feel. Telepathy is the mind, but it isn't the workings of the mind. It's how the energy transmits the contents of your mind, the results your mind creates. Somebody else, or the energy in general. So I think we need to start showing you the basics, because if you don't understand how your system works, how your integrated system works, you're not going to really realize what you're capable of. So Mike's just putting up a slide.
First slide here. Hopefully everyone can see this. This is a slide of me, believe it or not, a few years ago, obviously. It's an energy field. Basically, that's my energy field. Energy fields can be measured and photographed electronically nowadays. I mean, this is quantum physics. This is real. Everyone's got an energy field. And it's a bit cracked, but the photograph. But this is roughly what it looks like.
It's a bit egg-shaped, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Nowadays, they're done on sort of laptop programs. You put your hand on it, and it measures your energy field and everything. But this is real. So again, what happened to me a few years ago now. Don't worry too much about the colours. The colours are interpreted in different ways and mean different things. Everyone's energy field will be different. So if I've actually got another one somewhere, but if this was taken at one particular time, I could have another photograph taken maybe a week later, and the colors in my energy field will be different. It'd either be shrunk or it'd be out more. The last one I got it was really outside and fuzzy. It depends on where you are in your life with the healing or anything else that goes with it. You know.
Can I say a word about that?
Sure.
One of the things about the energy field and colors, it records and reacts to everything that happens to you. So a classic example, if somebody's bereaved, you will see, and you take one of these aura photographs, these energy field photographs of them, there will be a lot of grey, because that is the color of bereavement, upset, depression. That you will see that sort of thing. So that's just a quick example.
That's right. Well, yeah, and another quick example, I had one taken a year later, and it was a massive, beautiful colours, and it was really out here, really big. And that's because I'd been working a lot on my energy and mediumship. Within that year, it had really taken off. So it was bigger and it was floppier and it was more, So, okay, so there's your energy field. So let's look at the next slide, if it will let me. Should do any minute now. Come on. Okay. So here again, we had just a little example of how it all works. There's several layers to the energy field, but we don't need to go in too much to that because it's a big job. We know we have an energy field here, okay? And the energy field is fastened to this physical body by 7 major chakra points there. And there they are. And there are all the colors of the rainbow as well. So each one has a different color and each one represents a part of the energy field in your body. So there they all are. That's how that works. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So the next slide is the chakras themselves. This is how they are. So we're going from the bottom this time upwards. So the bottom one will be the base, and that's red. The next one will be the sacral, just above,
just below the
navel, really, just between the two there, and that's orange. Then we have the solar plexus, which is the stomach area here, and that's yellow. We have the heart, that's green. We have the throat chakra, which is sky blue. We have the third eye, which is indigo. And we have the crown, which is purple. Just as a matter of interest, the base, sacral, and solar plexus are the grounding chakras, if you like. And the throat, third eye, and crown are the higher vibrational chakras. And the heart sits in the middle and balances the two. That's just something little for
I'd like
you.
to just interrupt. I'm always interrupting. Okay,
no, that's absolutely fine. This is
just to say that chakras is an enormous subject. We are only touching on it here, so you have an awareness, a basic awareness. But it's try it. Go online if you haven't already. Just investigate it a bit, because these are the energy control centers of your body.
So if I quickly just go back to here, you can see here the base, the solar plexus, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. Okay, so that's how they are. Right, now we need to go to the nervous system. Right, so this is how, basically, this is how we are. This is all of our nervous system and everything else. So we have our energy fields. Everything that comes into the energy fields goes in through the chakras here. You can see these chakras and how they are. Behind each one of these chakras lies a main nerve ganglia of the body. So lots of nerves. So what's happening, these impressions or whatever it is, coming in through the energy field, into the chakras, in through the nervous system, all these little nerves, look, if you like, and they go in, up through the spine, if you like, the central cord, all the way up to the brain, and the brain turns that into an impression. So information, or whatever it is, emotions. You meet someone.
Yeah.
So if you meet someone, for example, for the first time, at a party or wherever you are, very quickly, most of us form an impression of that person. We like them, we don't like them, not so sure, there's something not quite right, or whatever it is. It might be a room, who knows. But that's a blend of that energy, and it's coming through your energy field into the chakras, in through the nervous system, up through the main nerve ganglia, if you like, up to the brain, and your brain says, not sure about this person, not sure whether I like them or don't like them. Basically, that's how it works.
And here you're looking at the beginnings of telepathy, one of the roots of telepathy. Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to just relate this to daily life, because we live our lives day by day and things affect us. Now, what we were just looking at in that last diagram is the integration of the energy, which is your spirit, your body, your physical body, and your mind. So the integration of, I think they always put it in this order in the UK, mind, body, and spirit, but it's all, as you can see from that diagram, all integrated and all causing effects on you, impressions. And that is sort of through the energy, that is telepathy. And this is how the indigenous peoples, like the Aborigines, they're ones that still live wild, they still communicate this way, mind to mind. But this is the route we've just described of how the energy from one mind transmits to the energy of another mind, which is quite fascinating and really quite useful. But that's the integration, that is the holistic view, if you like.
Okay. Yeah, and healing's the same. Healing is part of all this as well, a big part of this. We all need to be healed. We all need to have healing sometimes, again, because of what happens to our energy field and our chakra system.
Do they know what healing means, do you think?
They probably don't, actually. Does anyone know what healing means, the actual word healing? Well, I'll tell you anyway.
Does anybody not know? Nobody's talking to us.
Okay, that's all right. Healing means to make whole, make better, and make one, if you like. So if you think about the word heal, H-E-A-L, if you put a T-H on it, the end of it, you get health. And that's where that comes in. If you put a Y on the end of that, you get healthy. So it's all part of this healing process. And again, healing, balance and synchronicity, this is all part of that. And we'll talk a little bit about the healing later, how the telepathy comes in. Ease the disease. Yes, it is actually dis-ease. You're absolutely right.
Oh, no, thank you, Lorna.
Where you get that word dis-ease, it's dis-ease. Absolutely.
I'm going to make a note of that. I like that. To ease the disease.
Ease the disease.
Yeah, it's a good catchphrase, that.
So yeah, we'll talk later how the telepathy works for the healing when I talk about that later on. But yes, it's all synchronization and the balance and rebalancing and helping. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put another slide up in a minute. So if you bear with me for 2 seconds. Only goes to the last one. There we go. Let's go to there. Okay. So here we are. Look now, you see, this is person number 1 here. If we just show you this. Okay. There's person number 1.
In their energy field.
In their energy field. There's their energy field running around there. And there's the chakra system. Okay. So basically, that's how it works. What we do is we're trying to introduce another energy field, because we don't walk the earth alone. We see, meet, talk, and everything to other people. So we interact with everyone. We're not on our own as such.
I just want to explain why that blue line's running down the person on the right. That was my idea, to give you the idea that all the chakras are synchronized. They form a column of energy control centers right from the top of our head to the base of our spine. But it is a solid mass of energy. And this is why balance and synchronization are so important, because if one's out, it affects the whole lot. It ripples through.
Absolutely right. Okay. That's right. So number 2 here, person number 2, in their energy field with all the chakra system there. And it's on this blend. So person number 2 is coming into person number 1, if you like, energy field. And within that blend, on that energy field blend there, look, is the information that's given. So you'll be picking up here, this person number 2 will be picking up information from person number 1 and vice versa. So number 2 might think, as on this blend, oh, I don't particularly like you. You're not very nice. I don't know why, but I just don't blend with you properly. And number 1 might think, oh, you're nice. I could go home with you. I like your blend. You know, this is really good. And it doesn't mean to say that there's anything wrong with number 1 or anything wrong with number 2. What it means to say is sometimes the energy is just not compatible. A bit like a magnet. you attract, and it's really lovely, and magnet attracts everything. You turn them around the other way around, and they fly off in a different tangent, different direction. So it's just a case of sometimes we're not all compatible with each other. That's all. Okay.
And this that Mike is talking about here, and we're all doing this, aren't we? When we meet someone, we think, oh, yes, I like you, I don't like you. Or maybe it's a house or a shopping mall or something. We just get feelings about it, and it just happens, doesn't it? But we've just described the process that enables that to happen. But you are doing that. I'm assuming you're doing it subconsciously. The average person is doing it subconsciously. It just happens. If you start to work consciously with it, which is what I do as a medium and Mike does as a healer, we are looking for changes that are being caused in us by other energies. And that's when you can get into the realms of telepathy, because that's where you can start doing it deliberately. And this is psychic reading, which is when I do a reading, that's always the first part. I blend my energy either through the fields, if I'm with the person physically, or through the vibration of the voice if I'm not. But I am absolutely looking for information coming from the other person, and that can be refined to telepathic communication in the psychic reading or in your everyday lives. And what we're looking for is, what impression is this person making on me? What are they thinking about? What makes them, how do they work? What kind of person are they? And if you're doing this consciously, you are starting to read a person, you are starting to communicate telepathy. The problem is, in today's world, we are so used to verbal communication or written communication that the art of energetic communication, telepathy, mediumship, whatever you want to call it, has largely been lost. So people aren't being affected consciously by things, so everything just sort of flows past them. So can we have the next slide?
I'm going to go on the next slide. I just want to say first, I know there's a couple of chats in the chat box. After this next slide, we're going to ask the questions again, and we'll get to that. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this diagram is called the keyboard because it never changes. It is the basis of energetic communications between human beings on this planet. And if beings come from outside of this planet, then communication with them as well. It all happens with energy and the effect of energy. Now, this is a diagram we use when we're teaching mediumship, because we run courses at Illuminations on mediumship. And this is the one we show everybody, and we'll say, I'll go through it in a minute with you, but we just say, oh, well, there you are, that's how mediumship works. And everybody says, well, isn't there any more? And we'll say, no, that's it. And it never changes. The effect of energy on energy is the basis of everything. And that's why we call it the keyboard, because it's like a piano. A piano keyboard never changes. What changes is the person that plays it and how much they practice. Now, the fascinating thing is that in everybody's energy field is everything about their past. So everything that's happened up to the present moment, everything about what's going on them at the moment, around them at the moment, their future potentials. I'm using the word potentials because it is not possible to categorically tell the future, because our lives are controlled by our choices, and we have, as human beings, free choices. So it's always going to be potentials. And also your life purpose is in there. So when I do a reading, I cover all of those areas, and I will always find somebody's life purpose because it's actually logged in the energy. But I'm doing that by either blending my energy, if I'm the one in the middle, I'm blending my energy with my client there. That's pre-COVID. With COVID, we're doing it by Zoom, so I use the energy of the voice, which exactly matches the energy of the energy field, the vibrations of the energy field, rather. And that's how I'm getting the information. If somebody from another world, spirit world, higher beings, I haven't had any aliens, as they're called, or extraterrestrials coming in, but if they did, that is how they would communicate with me. They would blend with my energy and give me information. So that's how I am communicating energetically with everyone, and so are you. The only difference is that I'm conscious of it I'm refining it for certain reasons. And hopefully this knowledge that we're giving you will perhaps intrigue you, so you might want to try, or it just might make you more aware in your everyday life. Now you might say, well, how on earth do you know somebody's life purpose from their energy field? Well, the answer is that within your energy field are your natural talents and abilities that you were given in order to carry out your life purpose. So an example of this would be somebody who's a natural healer. I mean, everybody's a healer instinctively, but there are some people who have it a very high ability. And it's like little bits of software in the energy field. And that's a clue for me. One of the things that would tell me the person I'm reading is a healer. So you can see how much information there is to be gained. And if you start noticing how other people make you feel, it'll help you understand people better as well, which is quite useful sometimes. What to do?
Okay, so yeah, let's look at that, the bombardment and the healing side of it, if you like. So bombardment, blockages, damage. So you can imagine all this effects of other people, the news, whatever it might be, social media, whatever it is, and even this to a point. Everything's coming into our energy field all the time, every part of every day, and it's bombarding us in a funny sort of way with other people's feelings, energy, whatever it is. So we need to look at that. We need to be able to recognize that this is going to bombard us and give us blockages, if you like. So like sometimes, I don't know, you feel really tight, say it's a bad phone call or something like that, and it really shrinks your energy and you really feel panicky about it. I mean, that's having a massive effect on us. So all of us need the healing, and that's where that side of the mediumship comes in as well. Because even if you're doing mediumship, if you're doing readings or whatever you're doing, it's healing. It's a part of healing as well. And they're both intertwined really, really well. And so we need to just remove some of those blockages, and that's where the healing side comes in.
Well, actually, we had a good example of that last night. We had a phone call early evening, and Mike had it on loudspeaker, and it really disturbed me, really made me feel panicky, just completely unsettled. And Mike later on gave me some of his deep energy healing to repair the damage that that phone call had done to how I was feeling energetically. And it worked. So, that's an example. So we're going for questions.
We're going to go now, stop this, and we're going to have a look at the chat box, or anyone else who wants to come on live and talk to us or ask us anything. Disease we got. So is that the same as connecting with the other person's guides?
Oh, okay. Shall I take that one? Because that's what I do.
Go.
I don't tend to connect with other people's guides unless they ask me to. I am obviously connected to my own. I call them the backstage crew, and we're going to get to those later on. But if somebody said, oh, can you see who my guides are? I could probably sense that and tell you. But what you do with that information is another thing. It's all very well me connecting with them, but you would need to know what you wanted me to do with them. Whether you wanted information, whether you wanted to know who they were, what they were doing for you. But I would always be encouraging you and showing you how to do that yourself, because there's your power. You don't want to be coming to people like me all the time saying, can you connect to my guide? You want to come to me and say, well, how can I do it? And I'll do that for you. But hopefully, if you came back to me for another session, I would hope that wasn't an issue you wanted to raise again, unless there were communication problems, because everybody's capable of this. And this is the great thing. And I don't know who asked that. Does that answer your question? Who was it that did that?
Wait, they don't mind me saying it was from Lyra.
Lyra. So did that answer your question, Lyra? You want to put it in the chat box if you do? Oh, that.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes, please. You just have a small question about the connection.
Yeah.
How can I genuinely differentiate the sound of my mind and the sound of my soul, let's say? Because we all have busy-minded, especially if I am from people that they contact physically, not mentally, you know. So some people contact in physical, sometimes in not. So when I am hearing or listening to myself, sometimes it's too hard, even if you have clear thoughts, how you can how you can tell the truth between all these.
Well,
And
between your personal messages and your guide messages, you need to clear a space. So the trouble with us human beings, we are, note the word human being, we're actually human doing, because we're always doing things, thinking about things, planning things. Our minds are just full, monkey minds, if you like. And we need to recognize that we have to have control over our minds. So you would need to sit quietly, just follow your breathing, and allow all your conscious thought to fade away for that time. And just, it's like you're empty. And then you can send out the thought to your guides and say, all right, you can come and sit with me now. And with practice, you will learn to recognize the change in the feeling of the energy around you as the guides come in. I mean, ultimately, you would get to know them. I mean, our mediumship students, by the end of the first course, the foundation course, they will know how to do this. They'll have had practice at it. But you do need to keep an eye on how you're feeling yourself, because the feelings are what this is all about. Your thoughts are a bit dangerous. Your thoughts are manufactured. Your feelings are the truth.
And that is the key. If you know how you're feeling at any one time, mentally, physically, and emotionally, when you sit like that, anything else that comes in, you know it's not you, because you know how you're feeling. So it must be a spirit or another entity that you're channeling through.
In fact, we're going to deal with this in a little bit more detail later on, and that's so we will give you some tips on how to approach this subject. All right, anybody else? Who's OTM now?
Is it when you're peaceful that you can...
Oh, hang on. We need to go back that one.
Okay. Is it when you're peaceful that you can know the differentiation? The message consists only of very few words.
Right. The messages consisting of very few words are probably the best ones, because they're going to make the best impression on you. But yes, it is when you're peaceful. So a meditative state, or even just a quiet sitting and being state, just being aware of what's around you, just not thinking, and then just allowing the changes to take place. Now, what have we got here?
Right. Yeah, I don't mind answering this one. Bit dabble on the darker side, especially occult. Is it for real, and how does one protect oneself from negative effects? If real, who can help rescue? Is this use of negative energy? Okay.
That's a big one.
It is a big one. We are going to do a little bit of that when we do Backstage Crew a bit later, but I will tell you this. If you always put out the right intent, the good intent to help somebody else and to trust, that's a big word. So intent and trust, spirit world or other entities, you will not be harmed. Okay. We don't protect ourselves as such. We don't need to, because we don't believe that there's any harm in the spirit world or anything else. We know that we're doing this for the good and the good intent. It's a bit like if you're having a party and you put it on Facebook and you say, or you message on Facebook your, 10 of your friends and saying, I have a party, come along. You know, it's going to be a great party and it's going to be really good. If you put that same message out on Facebook or another social media site and say, having a party, open house, anyone can come, you're going to get gate crashers. You're going to get people that are coming in who's not so nice, maybe. It's a bit like that. It's how you intend to do the job. And you don't really need the protection for that because you're doing it for the right intent.
And in fact, it depends what you're doing with telepathy and mediumship. I mean, we don't put ourselves out to everybody. So if we're reading telepathically on this planet, then you can protect yourself, the energy, by using your chakras. There's certain techniques you can use with your chakras, which close them down if you don't like the effect of the other person. We've got a little bit more to say about that later on. If you are dealing with people who are not of this world, so for us, that would be the spirit world. I mean, I don't mind if an extraterrestrial gets in touch. That's absolutely fine. But I'm a bit busy with the spirit people. But we do, because we work with them regularly, we have doorkeepers. These are our mediumship guides, but you've all got doorkeepers who are your guides to look after you. You've got guardian angels. So long as you're working with the right intent and not dabbling with things with the darker side, as you like to call it, you'll be fine. And if you have a party with a few friends and a few bottles of wine or whatever, and you've got a Ouija board and a pendulum and a few other things, and you just do it as a bit of a party game, then you can expect trouble, because you know, as Mike said, it's open house, anybody can come. So hopefully this makes
have a word
sense.
with your, you know, sit in the quiet and just have a word with your doorkeeper, whoever. We'll talk about doorkeeper later. Just have a word with your these people in your mind and say, I don't want this, I want this, and I'm doing it with right integrity, and you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, there is more law and order in the spirit world than there is on this planet, believe me. There's far more danger on this planet with the people who live here than there is coming in from the other side. They've got bigger controls than them. And have we got any other questions? Because I've got something to follow that quite neatly.
Pretty good on that. Where's your chat? No, that was okay from that. That was the last
one. All right. Good. So the next thing I want to do with you is describe, we mentioned spirit people. I want to describe to you what a spirit person is. Yeah, we can go back to that slide so we can have another look at that, because our energy field is our spirit. And our energy field came into this world for this lifetime and joined the body that our mother was growing for us. That body then carries that spirit through this lifetime. So that shape on the right, the empty shape, that's the spirit person.
Nobody.
It's the energy field of someone who's been here and had a physical life like we are. But the physical body has died, as ours will, and the energy field has been released by the chakras back into the energy of the spirit world. However, that energy field contains everything about us or about that person. So characteristics, personality, emotions, memories, experiences. We are not our bodies. We are our energy, and our personality lies in there. So if that's me in the middle and the spirit person comes in and blends with me, they're going to be doing that for a reason. They're going to be doing it because they want to communicate with my client, who's the one on the other side. They've got something they want me to tell the client. And so they use this method of energetic telepathy, if you like, to pass information to me. And we're going to go into that in a bit more detail. And I think, where am I with this? I was going to do that bit, wasn't I? So what we're looking for from that spirit person is evidence of who they are. So through that blend between the spirit person and me, I am looking to receive information, identifying information about the spirit person that I can pass to the client. And I'll keep doing that until the client says, oh, I know who that is. So they're identified. And then they can give their message and say why they've come. So I will get thoughts, impressions, feelings, pictures, or hear things. There's all kinds of ways that they can communicate with me, but it's pretty well all under the heading of telepathy. So telepathy isn't just mind to mind, it's person to person, really silent information. Now there's a bit of an issue here. When I communicate with somebody on this planet, our energy fields vibrate pretty well at the same level, so we're compatible. When a spirit person comes in, their vibrations are higher, finer, and faster than mine. So that is not compatible. So we bridge that gap with an extra set of senses that you've all got. So you know you've all got your physical senses. You see, you hear, you smell, you taste, you touch. But those all exist within you at a higher vibrational level. And that spirit person is going to choose those clair senses to give me pictures at that higher vibrational level, or let me hear things at that level. And that's how that communication, that telepathy takes place across that disparity of vibration of energy. So if you, yeah. We'll take out of that. So if you, here we have the clair senses. So
there's 6 there, famous of 6.
Yeah,
6 physical and 6 clair senses.
Higher vibration.
Clair means clear.
Right.
So you're doing.
Yeah, so let's take clairvoyance, which is a word you've probably heard a lot, perhaps not so much in Dubai as it is in the UK. It's massive here. There's loads of demonstrations of it. And they use that one word, clairvoyance. But in actual fact, that is one of the senses. Objectively, Mike sees spirit people objectively. He sees them out in the room. I see them subjectively. I see them in my mind. Clairaudience is the same, objective hearing out in the room, subjective hearing in the mind. So you can see where the telepathy is creeping in again. Clairsentience, that's feelings, emotions. Olfactience is smells. Gustience is tastes. And clairknowing is that wonderful sixth sense when you, like your intuition, your gut feeling, you just know what that spirit person wants to tell you, wants to communicate to you. So that's your clair senses. I'm sorry this is a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but we need to sort of cover everything to give you this impression of how it works. So your backstage crew.
Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the famous backstage crew, which is what we spoke about earlier on. Right, so basically, here's the line between the spirit world and the earth. So there's the medium, which is us, which is not just us, but it's you as well. So it's everybody. The medium, right, sits on the line between the spirit world and the earth. So they're on the line on the earth, so they're communicating with the client, and on the spirit world, they're getting communication from the spirit. So here's the medium here. Here, blending their energies with the medium is the spirit person. So a spirit person comes through, blends the energy there. On that blend of energy, gives information to the medium, who can then give it to the client or audience if it's a big demonstration. But with that spirit person comes a spirit guide. Guide meaning actually showing you how to do it and what you know, giving you a hand if you like. It's a guide. This spirit person might have only been through, not at all, and might be nervous, whatever. And the spirit guide comes to give them a hand and help them along as well. Okay. Next to that, here we have the doorkeeper. Now we talked about the doorkeeper. It's the most, he or she is the most important person, if you like, on this blend. He's like the bouncer on, you know, or giving out tickets at a door. You can go in first, and you can go in first. He actually holds the waiting room, and he actually says, "Okay, one person at a time. Don't bombard this person." Okay, and he'll also say things like to the spirit guide, "This medium, spirit guide, to this medium has only got, say, 2 of the clair senses,
or only likes to,
or only like, you know, whatever, so, or all of them. So you can say what you like, but or don't let them see because they haven't got clairvoyance or whatever it is. So there's a communication going on there. A guide gives it to the spirit person can communicate with it. Okay. So you can see it's a massive network. It's like the best internet in the world. You have other guides as well, which we don't. I mean, I obviously have a healing guide when I'm doing my healing. So we do have it if you're doing healing. We have teaching guides, philosophy guides, all this sort of thing. If you're doing
there's a guide for everything.
Guide for everything.
That's your crew.
One of the main things here is we don't need to know who they are. There's a lot of people that will go, "Oh, my guide's a big red Indian," or whatever it is, or this is that, and my doorkeeper's that, or who are they? It doesn't matter. What matters is you know that you actually believe one. So that's basically how that works. You'll have a guide for you. Okay. So
all right. So once the communication from the spirit person has established their identity, then they can give their message, say why they've come down to our level to communicate with someone. It might be just a message saying how they are or commenting on something, but that is the communication. And of course, that is telepathic. And that's, you see how telepathy is running right the way through everything here. And, you know, this can all be refined in everyone. This can be brought into you. And communication is important on this planet as much as it is receiving it from other places. We need to communicate better. And it's all got a bit quick and a bit superficial. Whereas telepathic communication, that reveals the feelings. It's not just, you know, like these messages, text messages with all the abbreviations. It's not like that. We actually have somebody putting some emotion into something. It's like people used to, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago, before mass communication made it all abbreviated, the human race understood one another far better. Now we've gone into this artificial world of artificial communication. But just going back to getting information from guides, from higher beings, from angels, from loved ones in spirit, there's a key word which is necessary so that it has a value.
It's about proof, and that's what we do. We are proving, if you like, that there is no death beyond that of the physical body. It's also, okay, I'll come to the questions in a minute in the chat box. Thank you. It's also about, we actually prove this, and we actually can communicate, and we can say, look, this is the evidence we've given you, so you actually know that this is right, and this is the person, so you understand. With a guide or somebody, I don't know, I can't prove it, because unless you know who your guide is, unless they bring me some information that's relevant to you, then I can't prove it. It's like me saying, for example, I've got Elvis Presley here for you, and he's telling you this, this, and this. If you don't know Elvis Presley, or you've never met him, I haven't actually, then it's a bit of a waste of the time. So we need somebody that's for you, that I can actually prove to you, like a grandparent or father or whoever it is. And I can say, this is this person, and this is what they did, and this is how they acted, and this is how they behaved. This is what they wore, this is how they passed away. All the evidence that you say, I know exactly who that is.
So that's the sort of individuals, isn't it? So the higher beings, the angels, the guides, there is a degree of trust there. And you may have a feeling for your guide, but when those beings come through, the elevated ones, if you like, they will come through with wisdom, and that will be the difference. And you have to use your intuition, your feelings to know, does this resonate with me? Do I trust it? You have to, there's no way you can do it except to just listen to your gut feeling. Is this genuine? But it's valuable. So any communications like that are valuable, and you may receive them in meditation in different ways. It's fast from subject, but telepathy is very useful on many levels, and it's what mediumship is based on. So I mentioned at the beginning that what I do for Illuminations, apart from webinars and courses, I do readings. I read psychically, and I bring spirit through if that's what people want. Don't have to. And you think, well, why would I do that? Why would I want to do that? And I always ask people at the beginning, what made you decide to have a reading? What do you want? And there's a lot of people will say, I just want to know who I really am. I want some clarity about me and my purpose. I want a sense of direction, because some people are sort of wandering aimlessly around saying, well, why am I doing this? They're not content. And that's because they don't understand themselves. And the purpose is a huge one that comes up time after time. That would always come out. But that understanding of yourself and your freedom of choice is very powerful. And as Mike mentioned, proof of life after death. Because if a spirit person comes for you, and if they give me the right information and I give it to you correctly, you will know it's them. You just will. And some people who are very sensitive will actually feel the energy for themselves. So that's what happens in a reading. That's why people come. That's why I use my telepathic and mediumistic skills in readings.
Okay, I know there's a few questions in the chat box. We will get to them in a moment. So why have a healing session? And it's a bit like the same. Why have a healing session? So it's knowledge of repair and of blockages and weaknesses that help us to prevent reoccurrence, if you like. So everybody needs healing. Your energy field gets damaged, etc., and your chakras go out of balance. So we need that healing. We need to rebalance the chakras. We need to make the energy field stronger and bigger. We all need this every now and again. It's a bit like having a service done on your car. You need that service done. You need that yearly big MOT so that everything's running perfectly okay. And also with the sort of healing that I do there, it's for things that happen again later on. So I give you, again, telepathically wise, when I'm talking to spirit and when I'm doing the healing, I get to know where the blockages are. where the damage is being done, if you like, within you. So I don't only repair it, I give you that information afterwards, which is what I've been told or how I'm feeling. And I'll give you that information so that you can manage it yourself when you finish this healing. So it doesn't go away straight away. It allows you to be able to rebalance and fix yourself for that period, for that yearly period, if you like, or however long it is, maybe 6 months, whatever, depends on you. But at least if I'm giving you the knowledge to be able to help yourself, you know, that's the best thing that you could take away with you.
We got loads of questions.
We've got loads of questions in chat. So we're just going to go through a couple of these now. Right, yeah, so she's looking. Okay. So what language does the spirit person speak in? Have you come across a naughty or humorous spirit in your experience? Well, the answer to that is yes. Language, it's a funny one because it's a bit like one presumes of the universal translator. We seem to get what we need to be able to say to the person we're talking to. I mean, we have done things in different countries, and sometimes a bit of French may come out or whatever, or some funny language that the person's saying, so that you would get it. But normally
that will be the person here.
That's right.
It's like when I did some readings in France, and the people I was reading didn't speak English, but the spirit people that came did speak English. They spoke to me in English. So they must have a kind of a translator inside them. I don't know, but it just works.
I do across come naughty or humorous. One's definitely humorous. Naughty to a point, but not as in when you're doing this again with the right intent. What you mean by naughty? Well, yeah,
but your aunt that came through.
Oh yes, my aunt come through several times, and she was a naughty lady. I might tell you, but there you go. It's, but and they are very fun. Sometimes they come out with some really humorous.
Actually, there is a point to make there. They're not allowed to come until they can be trusted. So my ex-father-in-law, who was a very arrogant and mouthy man, when he passed, I was sure he would come through really quickly because that's the sort of person I perceived him to be, which is what he was here. However, he didn't come for months, and when he did finally come, and I asked him, well, you know, where have you been? What have you been doing? He had to learn humility before he was allowed to communicate with this world, because he couldn't be trusted to behave himself. Yeah. So there's a lot of rules and regulations, and I say a lot of humor. They do like to hold the floor. So sometimes you get 2 spirit people coming. Oh no, you've got 1 spirit person, but it could be 2 people. So you give the information to the client, and they say, well, that could be 1 or 2 people. And that can go on for quite a while, because the spirit person's enjoying being center stage, he likes it. And in the end, you have to say, well, actually, if you could just give me 1 thing that applies to you and not this other person she's thinking of. But you can almost hear them laughing.
Feel good. This is a good one. I can answer this really well. Has it known to heal cancer, mental illness, depression, etc.? Is there no depth in the spirit world?
Death. No,
oh, death. Sorry.
Question,
okay. Is it known to kill cancer, mental illness, and depression, etc.? Well, the answer to that is yes. There's no guarantees of anything pure in anything, and in a lot of cases, it's up to the people themselves of how they manage themselves afterwards. I've had a little bit of success in cancer patients and depression quite a lot, but again, when I've done the healing, maybe on a couple of times for a couple of times, if you like, not just a one-off. If it's really bad like that, it might take a couple of sessions. What I've also actually given the person is, again, this wherewithal to help themselves. So with both of us doing it and then also helping themselves, it's gonna be a lot more powerful. So very much so.
Yeah.
Is there no death in spirit world? Is there rebirth? Absolutely. No death in the spirit world. It's pure energy, and energy has no time, space, barriers, death, or anything.
Death only happens to physical bodies. So
rebirth. We believe
that's reincarnation. We actually believe in it, but we can't prove it. But there's a lot of people get regressed to previous lives, and there's evidence they were being somewhere else at a different time. So there is definitely the opportunity to come back again, because we're all here to learn lessons, and you might want to come and have another go. So yeah, you can choose. It's not forced on you.
Next one, yours is spirit / psychic reading, same as angel readings.
Okay, I'll take that one. I think with angel readings, again, we can't have the evidence. Now, depends what you mean by an angel reading. Some people in this country read angel cards, and that's a mental interpretation of the cards that are seen. If somebody is saying, I'm bringing an angel through for you, and they are saying this, you would need to have some kind of feeling within yourself that it really was that angel. And if angels, well, it could be your guardian angel, it could be like an archangel, but it's very difficult to give clear evidence of that. But that's where the faith comes in. And if you just get a feeling, this is real, this is absolutely right, then it is. But it would be, is it spirit or psychic? It's going to be more connected to spirit because it's coming from the spirit realms. So, but it's interesting, that question, because when I read psychically, I'm reading the energy of another human being. I'm talking about that human being. In a way, I'm doing the same with a spirit person. I'm sensing the energy. I'm talking about that person. But I'm not doing it to the spirit person for a service, which I am doing it to the human being for a service. So hopefully that sort of covers that for you.
Okay, next one, Brian. Is there a is the one-time permanent healing, or is this a one-time permanent healing, or do we need to redo based on our wear and tear?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's all sorts of different forms of healings. There's lots of healers out there. The way I work is a bit different. I put myself into a deep meditative state. I go right into the delta state, and I allow my body to be used as a conduit to do the healing from the spirit world and the universal energies. So for me, it's an ongoing process. If you're having a healing with me, it is an ongoing process. Can't say how long, but it is ongoing.
Depends on what goes on in their lives.
Absolutely.
Really.
And I will give you that wherewithal to be able to manage it yourself. I will give you the knowledge of where the healing's going, where it's affecting what chakras of your body. I will rebalance them, and I will let you know that this one was out of line because so and so and so and so. And I will be able to find things that's going on within around your area and around your life that's affecting you on a daily basis, maybe. So I'll be able to give you some help into helping you repair it yourself, so that once you start to get into that mode, the healing will carry on working. Usually it works an awful lot when you start to relax and fall asleep again, or whatever you're doing, then it can get in and restart again. So it's quite powerful, and it does last longer. So yes, the answer to that. If that helps.
Kind of variable. What's this? Do souls who are resting at peace or at rest also speak? Okay, so this is yes, there's sort of a misconception about this, because you hear people say, well, may they rest in peace. Well, they do for a while when they first get there, particularly if they've had a difficult passing, a difficult death. But in fact, there is a very vibrant life in the spirit world. And when you get there, you might need to rest for a bit. You might even need to have some healing when you first get there. But you will eventually want to get on with life there, because there is life there. It isn't. I used to think, I went to a convent, and I used to think everybody went and floated on a cloud and played a harp. And I used to think, well, that's a bit boring. You know, I want to do something else. I want to have some fun or have something interesting. And gradually I've come to realize that they do. They can carry on learning. They can be healers. They can go to other galaxies, if you like. But if you want to know a bit more about this, there's a wonderful book called Journey of Souls. And Journey of Souls is written by a man called Michael Newton, who regressed people to their last time in the spirit world. And it's a series of case studies. He says, this person told me that person told me that. So he's just recounting what people are telling him. But from reading that book, you will gain a very vivid picture of what life was like there. It's pretty good. Oh, wait,
pranic or Reiki
or energy healing. Do you want me to do that one because I'm the Reiki one?
Yeah, you're all right.
Okay, so I'm a Reiki healer, and I'm not sure about the other two you mentioned, but Reiki, I'm a Reiki master. And when I met Mike and he talked about this deep energy healing, I was a bit like, well, what does that do? Why is that special? And then I realized that it was deeper, because he goes into a trance-like state to do it, and he calls on universal energies, spirit energies. He lets spirit people come through him to help. With Reiki, my understanding of Reiki is I am calling on the Reiki energy and the Reiki masters in the spirit world. It's different. And it is, having experienced both, I would say that Reiki is probably more, you need it more regularly. I mean, my Reiki clients come probably once a calendar month, unless there's something awful going on in their lives. But that's their top-up phase. That's just sort of sorting them out after a month of life here. With Mike's, 6 months to a year, you might not even need it then. It all depends. Very variable, but his is deeper. Pranic healing, I don't know. And what was the other one that was there? There was another one, I think. Different kind of healing. What was it?
What did you say? Same as pranic or Reiki?
Or energy healing. Well,
yeah, well, it is an energy healing mind, sort of energy healing, a really deep.
But it's delta rather than theta. A lot of people do theta.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's just.
It's all good. Everything's good. All healing is good. Healing is for everybody. It's a wonderful thing. It just depends where you want to go, how you are in your life, how you feel you are, how you want to, where you want to go. Really, you have to make that decision yourself.
Wow. Thank you for your question. It's been a great session. And just to finish off, we'll just remind you of what we do. So I do the readings. Mike does the deep energy healing at Illuminations. Book that through them. But we also run courses in mediumship development. So the foundation course, which is 6 weeks long, 6 90-minute sessions. The next one starts on the 26th of February. And if you take to it, if you like it, then you can go on to do the advanced course, which is another 6 weeks, which I think starts in April. And some of us, we're on the 3rd cycle of these now. Some of the students from the 1st cycle have done teacher training in this, because we can do that as well.
It's all certificated. You get a certificate from our foundation, our charitable foundation that we run as well in the UK. So you will get a certificate to say that you've passed or completed these courses.
Yeah, so like a couple of our students from Dubai actually now come to our UK classes, and somebody from Australia. The only problem is the time difference. So Tuesday night this week, we had somebody from Dubai sitting in, and when we'd finished at 9 o'clock here, it was 1 o'clock in the morning for her. So she had matchsticks in her eyes to sort of keep them open. The other end of the scale is somebody from Brisbane, and for him it was 5 o'clock in the morning. So we had a lot of time differences going on.
You can also, you can also ask Illuminations if you want to for a sort of 20-minute experiential little taste of them, just telling about what we do. But realistically, and if you want the full
if you want to talk a bit more about the course, they just book a 20-minute experience.
We can do whatever.
We can talk a bit more about it.
Okay, what was that last chat? Before we go,
somebody said thank you
for potentially answering the concerns. Lovely listening to you both. Well, thank you very much to everyone. We really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, we have.
So much better than last lot. No, you're all good. Everyone's wonderful. Really, really nice. Really nice.
Yes, the audience participation just makes it. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
And stay safe.
Yes.
And hopefully we will meet again. Okay then. Bye-bye.
Bye.